Okay, so this has been a long video that I wanted to do, and the objective of this video is to demonstrate how the combination of PowerQuery and VBA can be useful instead of doing just VBA. So for demonstration purpose, I have an add-in which we call it as Payslips, and what it does is it generates the payslips based on certain input files. So in this case, we have 4 to 5 inputs that we have to consider, and it just brings up the data from all those files together and processes them, transforms them, and for all of these steps, you have a VBA script. So in total, there are around 1500 or 1600 lines of code when you do it only with VBA. So stepwise, it just processes the files, transforms the data, and generates the payslip as PDF. Once that is done, it does not really send out an email, but it simply generates those payslips. Now, the problem is when you have some change in the input file, let's say a new column was added, or you need to include certain new information. Now, that's when the challenge comes, and you have to be dependent on the developer of the script, because you need to go to them and then get it fixed or get it updated to include that new particular information. Or let's say even if you have a change in the template, you have to go back to them. Now, if you think about it, only place where only task that needs the VBA script is around navigation, like how you select the files and how you print the PDF, or how do you send out the email. But for all the data-related tasks, such as transformations or joining the information where you have to bring in the employee's account number, all these things can be done with Power Query, and that's quite easy, efficient, and really fast. Plus, it's very easy to debug or update if you have anything new that should be included. So I'll just go ahead and demonstrate how this existing payslip add-in works, and it just does the part of the whole process. It does not really send out an email, as I said earlier. So it will simply generate the payslip. So let's go ahead and click on this particular button. So I believe I have it in break mode. I'll stop it and close this and start again. Apologies for that. Okay, so there seems to be, these are the other challenges that you would have to face when you have everything on VBA. For example, this one, it is looking for certain control, user form control, which is not being supported by this particular version of MSX. This one was. So I have to disable that, and then the form should kick up. I would say it's quite slow. It must have shown somewhere. Okay, so it was on my another screen. So see, it's very simple. So it asks you to select the input files that you have, and then after you select everything, you simply have to click on prepare payslips. So it will run and it will generate those payslips at a rate of like 5 of them a minute, because it has to do the transformations of the records at each step. It has to wrangle the data from course fee, employee list, gross payroll report, and the placement fee. I would not go into the details of how the calculations are done, but it's just to give you an idea and just to give you an overview of how it is all being done. I can try to walk you through the code that we have here. So these are the form modules. You'll see the form related code here. I would not really go into that as well. This is the main module that we have, and in this one, when you pay attention and look closely, developer is trying to generate so many files. Uh, I had to disable most of it so that I can make it working or make it run. But if you look at it, he is trying to do everything with the VB script. For example, if we have to generate the payslips, he is calculating it for each of the employee IDs or each of the rows that we have in that particular table. So it's a lot of processing, and for each record, when you look through, it has to go through all these line of codes and then process them. So you can imagine how slow that would be. It's like never ending. So we have so much of this, uh, but I'm not saying it's bad. It's good for what it can do, but still. Now let's go back and look at what we have as a new solution with the Power Query. So this is the interface. It's all on the sheet. I have named it as landing page, and you have all the controls right here. You don't really need to use any user form control or anything at all. However, you do need small VB scripts to browse a file or folder to make a selection of the input file. So you have instructions here as in what type of format it can accept. You can browse the files, you can browse the folder, and then there are certain inputs that you have to provide. Then you have the FNE date and this that you can fill. After that, you can see that there are four buttons to run certain tasks or accomplish certain tasks. You can, after making your selections, you can simply click on refresh data, which will load the information from all these input files. And when you do refresh data, it is going into the queries and the connections or the transformations that we have done, and it is refreshing all these queries. Now, the VB script that we saw, which we were using to transform the data and do all the calculations, instead of doing that with VBA, I have done it with the query, Power Query. Let's have a look at it. Now, if we look at it, you'll see that I have these many queries. These queries are nothing but connecting to those input files, picking them up, and merging with the other data sets to come up with the final table, which will be used as an input for payslip generation. So I have done the transformation steps here. It's really easy to go through, and if you have to make certain change or if you're finding an error because of something was added or deleted as a field, you can take care of that easily. As an user, you can handle that easily here, almost easily, I would say. And after that, you simply have to upload it. And how the input files are working is with the parameters. So if you're not aware of how the parameters are done, basically it takes the input from your sheet, Excel sheet, where you have entered the information. So remember, we had asked user to select the gross payroll report, and that path from there I'm picking up and I'm making it as parameter value. And this path, GPR path that I have as parameter, I'll use that as source for my GPR data table. So if we look at the source here for GPR data, file.contains GPR path, which is this, and in turn that is going and taking the file from the folder. So the file is not getting opened. There is no extra processing time. It's just making a connection and getting the data from there. Similarly, you'll create parameters for the other ones too, other input files as well. And these parameters are not only the input files or any of the single values. You can take a list of, anything that is entered on the sheet in cells. You can take those values and pick it up as parameter after doing certain transformations where you're bringing it to one value. There are certain things like FNE date value, and then ABC, and these they denote what data type it is. So if you're a Power BI developer or Power BI user, you would relate it to measures that we create. Not even measures, but parameters still, I would call it. So after you do all these, you simply close and load your information, which goes into your tables. And after that, you have a payslip template, which you have to design. And when you design it, you have to be clever enough to drive it with the index formulas. So all I'm doing is I have this total count of how many unique employees are there. And then this particular cell, I'm going to run a loop from 1 to this number, and I'll keep on updating this. As soon as I hit that or update it, the employee ID changes based on that number, and it's very simple. That changes. Here is the total number of records for this particular employee, and all these cells are being driven by index. And the information is filled in here, all the calculations are done, you're ready. So just by updating that this number here, the serial number of the employees, you are changing everything. There is no repeated calculations. There is no need to go through each of the records, etc. So it's really fast. It's like it generates, I would say, 50 payslips a minute. So that's a huge improvement. It also generates one tax invoice. Again, this is also automated with index functions. The design you have to make initially, but it's just that, and then you simply write a 40-line of script, or even that can be reduced to a certain extent. But you write a 40 lines of script to generate the PDF out of this. There are some supporting tables. When you go through the details that you have here, you'll understand that. It also sends the email to all those employees. So even for this, you have to write some 40 or 50 lines of code. It also generates 4 different type of Excel files that have to be uploaded to the CRM system. So if we go and check out the scripts that we have in this file, we have print invoice, that template which we saw. We have export Excel files. It generates 3 different Excel files for further uploads. We have a few procedures for navigation. We have a procedure for print payslip in the PDF, and then another one to send out the emails. So it's just that simple. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer any. Thank you.